of these two factions is Trump listening to at this point?
Well, based on his Twitter account or his Truth Social account, it's whoever will give him the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, he seems very hell-bent on making sure that he gets credit for whatever he thinks is his diplomatic efforts here. But he also, a lot of this, unfortunately, comes down to ego. And the president wants to make sure that he is appearing to be the strongest man in the room and gets things done the way that he wants to get them done. So if he feels that Iran is not coming to the table, which they have not, then he, is faced with this choice and making these threats. But to Megan's point, I think when you're for nothing, you ends up being for everything. So all options to him are constantly on the table. And that's a problem because it is based on whoever he's speaking to last. But, you're already hearing the MAGA base that are such diehard loyalists saying, it's not intervention if he just helps assist with a few bombs. It's not intervention if. So they're already making, excuses for it to keep with their isolationist viewpoints. Whereas I don't think Trump ever was an isolationist. It's it's an opportunist more mentality.
And let me tell you, intervention, I mean, that'll be interpreted by the person on whom we may be intervening. I mean, my goodness. Right. Okay, flip side question to you, Megan, because Bill Kristol argues, this is for the Bulwark, that the promise of America First is dead if it ever really existed at all. And he writes, quote, "The fact is, for all the talk about rejecting globalists, the experience of the Trump administration is one of intervening repeatedly in global affairs." Is Kristol right? And is it clear, this is the flip side to the question I asked you, is it clear how Trump defines America First?
Well, I agree with Maura here, sort of on the last question. It works with it. He is for whatever is best for Donald Trump and whatever is going to make him the most. So he intervenes on things because he wants to be seen as a dictator. He looks to Putin as someone he respects greatly. So, of course, he was going to intervene with Ukraine and Russia. He's been intervening on all sorts of things like NATO and different issues since he became president again. And but he only cares about what's best for him and what's going to make him the most money. So it's not America first, it's Trump first.
So then there's far-right activist Laura Loomer, who's threatened to expose MAGA supporters who criticize Trump's policy on Iran, and this by collecting social media posts and then delivering them to the president. She has also unleashed an expletive-filled tirade on social media, ranting against Tucker Carlson for speaking out against potential military action against Iran. Is she someone to be taken seriously, given the access she has to the president, and that she may have drilled into certainly a large group of MAGA mentality?
Listen, I'm all for when someone calls out Tucker Carlson for truly being an opportunist in terms of foreign propaganda and being paid and bought by people like Russia. Vladimir Putin invited him there to go grocery shop. We'll never forget that video. And so I'm all for that. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend as though Laura Loomer has some sort of voice in the Republican Party or in politics in general. She's a conspiracy theorist who has spread dangerous ideas and dangerous theories that impact real families. Her 9/11 conspiracy theories are damaging. And so the Republican Party at large is not going to take her seriously. However, the problem is that Donald Trump seems to have already done so. You mentioned NSA and the Cyber Command General. We still don't have a general there. And so that poses a threat to us as a nation. But for Republicans at large, I do think that behind the scenes, they've been able to convince President Trump about the important role America has and that it is putting America first by making sure that we continue to lead on the world stage. And so there is definitely some nuances going on. I hope that Laura Loomer is not part of those, because I just don't see her to be a serious person that we should be even having conversations about, quite frankly.
Okay, I've gotten the clue. I'm going to move on. So, Megan, Democrats have gotten a jolt of energy from the No Kings protests. So what's next? I mean, organizer Ezra Levin spoke to my colleague Chris Hayes about just that. Let's take a listen.
You got to recognize Congress isn't the only actor in this game. We launched earlier this week something we've called 1 Million Rising, which is an effort to train up people all around the country on how they can focus on their universities, their media institutions, their businesses, the law firms in their communities, and use organized people power to push those institutions to uphold democracy.
So there's also another protest that's planned in just a few weeks. Will this be effective? Is it all building towards something real and influential?
I think that the movement here in general is a good one. I think that the Democratic Party has been looking for leadership, and I think that everyone just needs to turn inward, and we are our leaders of our party. Congress has not provided a path for people to do that, but these protests have, and people like Indivisible and Ezra organization, they've given people a platform to show and to express their feelings and to show that they really do care about democracy, and they're not just going to stand in line behind Donald Trump, regardless if that's whatever he throws at them next. So I do think these things are really helpful. And also, all politics is local. These are organizing in different communities, small towns, big cities, and that's really important. The Democratic Party has either overperformed or won in 30 of 33 down ballot races since the presidential election. That's an incredible statistic that we're not talking about for Democrats. Actually do have a lot of power in down ballot races and in their communities.
So, Mara, with the vast number of protesters we've seen, 5 million at least nationwide, is opposition to Trump now crossing party lines? Are Republicans and independents saying, hey, this isn't what I voted for, and is there an opportunity to seize?
I mean, these protests have been peaceful. The ones that have been peaceful have been really powerful and impactful, and you're seeing an incredible turnout. Now, the question becomes, can they keep the momentum going? Can they build upon that, right, by expanding to independents or disenfranchised Republicans who are disappointed about what's happening in the Trump White House? And can they keep it going until 2026, right? So that becomes the question about how they plan for the future and how to keep the momentum going. I will say that I think that focusing on the ICE raids that are upsetting communities, both from Republicans and Democrats across this country, is an effective message. What won't be effective is what Congresswoman AOC just did, was pushing Khalil's message, Mohammed Khalil. That's not a message that's going to resonate with American people. Actually goes back to what Republicans won on in 2024, is the arrogance of Khalil's message there, because he's here. It's a privilege to be in this country. And when people feel like it's being taken advantage of, which I think that interview just showed when he was talking with AOC there, that's going to be a negative on Democrats if they push that kind of a message. So focusing on the peaceful protest is going to be their best bet.